What I'm showing you here is the interior of the hardtop. The customer was a little concerned with some of the bolts that hold on the flange to the body. And as we look at them here and we get real close, we'll see that these washers are much bigger and they've been cut in order that they fit. And through the cutting process that leaves a sharp edge and there's some scratching that goes on. And they're just not the right hardware to hold the top. So that's just sort of for starters. And if we start to kind of work our way down in, some of these have actually cracked some of the bodywork around. So we'll go back and we'll scrutinize that a little bit. But we just find one back here where the bodywork was cracked, and we'll go in and look at that. So that's what the end result is. That's what that little black line is cracking the bodywork. So, and this truck really hasn't even been driven. Once it drives more and the top starts to heave side to side, that will probably occur more, which is a concern. And you'll get rid of that by just changing out these washers for starters. But each one of those sides, the cracking has started over here as well. You can see that. So that would be a concern. But the bigger concern sort of is the hardtop. We have cracking up here as well on the perimeter. And this is we call this the rain gutter. We have cracking there, as well as a number of holes that really don't belong, that were not taken out during the restoration process. And we would have probably let's take these out, but they're there. And again, some rough metal there. That would be another observation. And our last observation is here, there are no rivets. Factory rivets are what keep these fiberglass to the rain gutter, and there should be factory rivets here, and they occur every couple inches, and then as you get forward, they occur like every quarter of an inch. Well, this top has none, zero. They must have glued this onto the rain gutter, because there are no rivets up here at all, and no rivets underneath. So that would be another observation about this. And our last observation, and sorry to be so critical here, but the customer did ask that we look at this, is that we have cracking underneath here, all cracked. And this is because they relied on really some sort of epoxy sealer there as their glue, so to speak. And if you look up top, there are no rivets. Back to that comment again, there are no rivets. This flange needs to be riveted to this fiberglass, and what they did is they glued it, and that's what it's relying on. So ultimately, when you drive down the road, underneath that right there, the water will seep through and then come through the headliner, and eventually wind and whatnot. So that's kind of, I think, on the autopsy on this should be riveted. It was all glued, and this was glued. It's kind of nice in theory, and it looks good right out of the box, but when you start to really use the truck, it's not going to hold up to bending and tweaking and whatnot. So we probably recommend we remove that and do something about the rivets, reestablish them, and something with the hardtop as well.